iPad's not connected. The internet. It shows it's connected. Let me try one more time. There we go. So we are definitely going to be talking about going to war. doesn't end well unless it ends. Can't just report the fucking obvious.
I don't care what a critic got to say, I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and
just a motherfucking jump. Just go. And we are here. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your fucking host because I'm the fucking guy. All right. It's Wednesday, people, and there's a little bit to get into, a little bit more, since the weekend. Is there going to be, how is the U.S. going to be involved in this war? And I'm going to give you a little bit of my take on that. There's some Republicans. The Republicans are a little bit split on this. I wouldn't say equally, but there's a split. Trump never said that he would be, that he was the no war ever president. That wasn't that he was the unending wars that just dragged on and on and on. And this is not going to drag on. This is not what this is going to be. And I have a little thing that we'll get to when we get to that. But I wanted to start with this. I think, you know what? I'm an idiot. I probably sent it to myself because I was going to send it to you. Good morning, Chase. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you? Had my fair share of struggles this morning as well. I could not find my keys to save my life this morning. It was one of those.
It was one of those?
Yeah. It's like the one time I actually decided to wake up nice and early.
Yeah. Well, we are going to start with, Dawn and I, it was kind of tough. Listen, we since we're going to be leaving for Mexico, we made a short trip. We made a trip into Scottsdale to pick up a couple of things. And we watched the hockey game, of course, on the way. Yeah. And the Florida Panthers won. It was very, very good. That's their back-to-back Stanley Cups, which is like brutal. It's hard, very, very hard to do because it's just hard. I think it's hard. That's probably the hardest sport to win back-to-back championships in.
Really?
Yeah.
What about
because
World Cups?
Yeah, I don't know, but like it's when you have that probably is tough, but like you got in this case you have you're playing 7 games. We don't play 7 Super Bowls, you know what I mean, to see who wins. We don't play the best of 7. And hockey it's just rougher than basketball. You know what I mean? These guys were pounding each other hard. It was a good series, even though it was over in 6. It was absolutely good. So we enjoyed it. 3 of the games went into overtime. 1 went into double overtime, and that was a first for a Stanley Cup. But we had fun watching the finals. So, and honestly, I absolutely just did not want to see the Oilers win. And it's all like, because fuck Canada. That's my attitude about Canada right now. So fuck Canada. Panthers are the champions again, and good for them. So I copied the link, and I'm going to go to Leo, and I'm going to send you this so that we can watch this Caitlin video. So the game was going on between the Fever and the Connecticut Suns while we were watching the Panthers game. And so what we did, then, it's recorded for us. So we picked it up right from the beginning and watched it all the way through. And what a great game. Caitlin Clark, second game back from her injury, still lighting up the threes. And, just go ahead and play it. We'll just get right to it. So there's a little bit of shit going on in that game. But the referees have been awful in the WNBA. And I can say that from going to the Mercury games. They're just terrible. And this was this is the first time I seen where all of the officials were women. An all-woman officiating team. I'm just saying that's what it was. That's it. Not saying anything else. I'm just telling the truth. It was an all-women's officiating team.
Cunningham is down behind the play,
but you should see this anyways. Go ahead and finish.
They've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from two players with incredible Clark, another long three.
Yeah,
she's back.
Her seven threes. That was great. Her 7 threes. She averaged 28 feet out, 6 feet beyond the arc because it's 22 feet for them. I don't know. So yeah, that wasn't.
That's the one you sent me.
That's the one I sent you, and that's not the one I was meaning to send you.
I know what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's everywhere this morning. I mean, on every app or platform. Anybody that wants to talk sports is talking about it. Yeah, any of them will probably have it. I'd go to the YouTube one. That's going to show them.
Watch what eggs do to your brain. Take a look at these two.
It's okay.
With ratings climbing, national headlines pouring in, and a level of mainstream attention the league had long fought to earn. It wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about momentum, but the shift came quickly. When Caitlin Clark went down with injury, that momentum slowed. Viewership began to dip. The energy around the Fever games shifted. What once felt electric started to feel uncertain. Without her on the court, Indiana's offense lost its identity. The spacing tightened. The passing lanes disappeared. The freedom they once played with collapsed into hesitation. Over several games, they managed just a single win, and each performance looked more disconnected than the last. Clark wasn't just their point guard, she was the engine that made everything move. So when she returned to the lineup, it meant far more than a minutes restriction or stat sheet. It meant the team had a chance to breathe again. Fans came with hope. The cameras returned. The lights felt a little brighter.
Yeah, we might want to move this along.
Finding that rhythm again, things took.
I think I found a better one anyway.
All right, that's cool too. All on me for not being prepared. I thought I had it.
You guys want the truth? The truth.
Do we need 10 minutes of this, dude?
Is getting absolutely destroyed.
I was
every
just trying
time
to
she
see
hits
the
Okay.
part where she gets.
She cannot shoot a layup. Cannot shoot it.
We'll do that. We don't need to be listening to him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this must have been all.
Yeah, this is blowing.
But you're talking about.
But it was last night with the Connecticut Suns. So, like, Caitlin and the Suns. That's what we have to search. Good Lord, I'm terrible. Might just go right to the war. You know, I thought I did something. Didn't I? See, I would think that I tagged it in my.
I got it here from ESPN.
There you go. That'll work. Hopefully.
So we can do. Here it is.
Okay.
midway point, third quarter. Sheldon all over Clark, and they get into it a bit here. Lexi Hall now gets in Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the deck. Big Ten against Big Ten, Ohio State and Iowa.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
Ooh, and Marina Mabry. I missed that one, Edona.
Oh, I missed that one too. Yeah, it looked like Caitlin got hit hard.
Upgrade to a flagrant, and you can probably imagine Stephanie White is sticking up for Caitlin.
It's been the biggest issue for Connecticut, just 40 minutes of basketball.
Oh, boy. Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into it. These two teams do not like each other.
It's clear. But watch JC Sheldon here on a fast break. Cunningham definitely tried to stop her completely, but maybe uncalled for, and she grabs her head.
Cunningham appeared to knew she would have it coming after committing this foul. That's a little payback from the midway point of the third quarter when Sheldon got into it with Caitlin Clark. Marina Mabry got involved. Charles wagged her finger, warranted double technicals. Mabry got a tee. And now they've got to take a look. I mean, both sidelines just emptied there to try to separate the chaos.
So there you go. It's like, she is tough though, man. She takes it, and it's fun to watch. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. So there you go. Just Caitlin Clark and the team like fighting back. And, oh, then think about this. So there's this Commissioner's Cup that they have. You know, it's almost like the little in-season thing the NBA does now, where there's like an in-season champion of some bullshit cup.
Okay. I have no idea.
I can see it.
No
Okay,
idea what
there
you're
is.
talking about.
Well, that they have that in the WNBA now, and as poorly as they've played because Caitlin was out during this stretch of when these games are played to qualify for this cup, they got in. So the final of that will be played, I believe, on the 3rd, and they split up, I think, $500,000. So that's kind of, you know, a way something, give the women extra money, and then I think crypto, there's some other organization is throwing in some cash too for all of the players that make it. So that's kind of cool. So they have something to play for. That'll be interesting to see, but that they actually did that. But things are gonna change now that she's back. If she stays healthy, and there's every reason to believe that she will, because she's been healthy her entire career. Like, being injured was not a thing. She never missed a game during college. So they're definitely going to be one of the teams fighting for it at the end. I would put them in the top 4 teams, you know, whether their record reflects it right now or not. But at least their record's above 500 right now. So you do have that. So let's get to the war. Here's the thing. Trump, I don't know why I feel like I've always been able to understand Trump, but I do feel like I've always been able to kind of understand him and how he talks and kind of interpret it all. Like, I've always believed in taking him seriously, but not always literally. And people that don't like him take him literally and not seriously. And sometimes with Trump, too, it's a directional thing, going in a particular direction. Trump is not an isolationist, as some people tried to label him because of trade policies and things like that, or because, hey, we want Europe to take care of European shit and step up to the plate. That's not us being isolationists. It's a matter of being smart where you pick your battles. And I think, you know, I identify with that a little bit, where as an individual fighting, okay, that, again, being willing to fight but not wanting to. You know, I don't want to fight, but if I have to, yeah, I will. I will throw if that's what I have to do. And sometimes you just got to know that when you flex, someone might call you on your flex. And then that means you're going to have to back that up. Nobody wants a long war, but I think it's a situation that is identified very, very well by, I don't know if some of you may have heard or follow Zero Hedge. Well, I also get emails from that as well. And that's the Tyler Durden site. And this was on there. So there was at Just Curious on X as a professional forecaster and member of the Sentinel Global Risk Watch forecasting team. When we last covered their forecast of war with Iran in late March, she had the highest odds on the team for a hot conflict to erupt, which was a contrarian call at the time. The Oracle spoke to her on Monday, June 16th, about her forecast that the regime has just weeks left. So here was the question that was asked. You were early on predicting this would turn into a hot war. What signals convinced you when others were more skeptical? The first thing that caught my attention was Trump moving a whole bunch of B-2s over to Diego Garcia. That was a big signal to me. But then they all moved out. So for a while, I was more optimistic that things wouldn't turn into an actual kinetic conflict. But I kept hearing rhetoric out of Israel, and it seemed like negotiations weren't progressing in a direction that would be sufficient for Israel to not pursue hostilities. The way I looked at it, Iran represents the greatest existential risk to Israel. Netanyahu has made such statements repeatedly, and if negotiations were going to be satisfactory to him, he would push for strikes. The question was whether his power was sufficient to do that, and the answer is clearly yes. What's really odd on X, there are actually Americans dumb enough to say, why isn't Iran allowed to have nukes? That was a real question posed. Like, it's somehow unfair for Israel to have nuclear weapons and not Iran. The reason is real fucking simple. The United States is not a terrorist organization. Israel is not a terrorist organization. They're not using the nukes to threaten. They were defense. It's not Russia. It's not mutual assured destruction was a thing between us and other countries, between us and Russia, between us and China. That's not a thing with them. These motherfuckers want to die. They're okay with dying. Now, I believe in my God, but I would rather not die right now. These motherfuckers apparently, they're just hoping for virgins and they're willing to go. It's a totally different thing. Israel has never threatened to wipe Iran off the face of the earth and all of its Persian people. That's never been a thing. But it has been a thing for Iran. They chant on a regular basis, death to Israel, death to the United States. That's the thing. No, they cannot ever be allowed to have a nuclear weapon under any circumstances. And for somebody to ask it, it's like, how old are you? When were you born? What's your education? Because you just have to be stupid to think such a thing, that would be an okay thing for them to have nuclear weapons as well. It's not. And this is just a time, and that's, what this was getting to, that I think is really well done. I see 2 or 3 main drivers. First, Trump issued an ultimatum. It's hard to issue an ultimatum and then not have something happen. That could have been defined as a win through the negotiation process, but it also set up the possibility of something new and different happening. Second, Netanyahu's time as a leader of Israel is limited, and this was a perfect window of opportunity to accomplish a long-term goal of eliminating the nuclear threat posed by Iran. For the first time, you have a leader of the U.S. highly in sync with the leader of Israel in terms of eliminating that threat and being willing to potentially take risks that other combinations of leaders would not have in the past. The final signal that told me this was definitely happening was when the U.S. issued mandatory and voluntary evacuations of staff and family members in the region. Those orders aren't issued lightly. That said to me, this was clearly like to happen. Plus, we were coming up on Trump's 60-day deadline. So I do agree with the assessment as well that they say Trump is a bit of a wild card. And I think he tries to use that to his advantage. Bless you. Pretty much anyone in a position of leadership in the U.S. would agree that it's not in any form of U.S. interest for Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. The question is to how to slow that down or stop its development. And they've tried to put a little bit of a, rift out there with the media between Trump and Tulsi Gabbard. That's just it's just taken out of context. You know, what Tulsi Gabbard was talking about when she gave testimony to Congress was the fact that they were at the highest levels of enriched uranium of any country that didn't have a nuclear weapon. So they didn't have it yet, but like they're basically sitting on the cusp of it now. And this is just, you only have so much time. This has been talked about for a long time. I got to tell you, I told you that for me personally, if there is one country in the world, like I want to get along with Russia. It'd be great if we could get along with China too. But one country that I will have no qualms about, especially the leadership being taken out, is Iran. I have no issue with that whatsoever. What I don't want is what most Americans don't want. We don't want boots on the ground. We don't want a 10-year war. I don't think we're going to see any of that. I think this is the time. Israel has done what they could do. With the weapons they have done and set the table. Here's the thing. They don't have the entree. The U.S. has the entree. So that's the bunker busting bomb is the entree. They have bunker buster bombs, but not as massive as what we have, which are like 30,000 tons, which can go as deep as is needed to hit the facility that is their biggest, most active facility and just wipe it out. We have that. They've set the stage for us to go over there and do that, and I think it will be done. I don't know when it will be done, but it's going to be done sooner rather than later. Because certainly the rhetoric coming out of Iran is not that they want to negotiate. And Trump keeps offering it to them. And I believe he's really sincere about that. He's continued to offer it. It's even been said that if we want to believe things at face value, it's that not to take out the supreme leader. We know where he is, but we're not gonna take it. Offering them a chance or an opportunity. And if it's that important to them, sometimes people make bad decisions. And that's what happened in Iraq, pretending to have nuclear weapons that they didn't have. Well, that cost them. Now, how we handled it afterwards was shitty. Absolutely, 100% agree with that. And people don't remember, if we would have handled Gulf War I, we would not have had Gulf War II. That wouldn't have been a thing. But Bush didn't finish the job in Gulf War I. And then you leave the problem out there. That's the lesson learned. We can't just leave this problem out there now. Not after things have just come together timing-wise for this to be able to happen. And so I believe Trump is going to act, and sooner rather than later. Again, I don't think war will be declared. You're going to have Democrats all up in arms. He's just going to take the heat and just do it. And as long as we're not drawn in further after that, and we just continue to support Israel, we just kind of fly over there with our B-2 bomber and drop that shit, I'm good with it. Honestly, I really am. And that's what I think is going to happen. So, like, I would stop projecting if I was a conservative about bullshit that you think people are talking about might happen that hasn't happened. You know, I'm not a big believer in that. I'm not a big believer in, you know, worrying about shit until it's time to worry about shit. Until you know. And we don't know at this point. What we do know is where we're at right now and the opportunity that we have right now to eliminate this threat that's going to not just make us and Israel happy, but it's going to make a lot of other countries over there in the Middle East happy too. And then I believe from there, if everything is successful, you're going to see like the Abraham Accords, that more of the Middle Eastern countries are going to join those Abraham Accords, and that really potentially finally have more peace in the Middle East than we have ever had. That's the opportunity here. But you got to take out the bully. And it takes a bully to address a bully. And Trump is that bully. He is the one to do it. And I believe he will. So that's kind of my assessment. And like I said, it's, you know, there's some good things to follow out there. If you're not following, you know, Zero Hedge, I would recommend that. Follow on X, and then you can probably get into the emails and other things that they send out and stuff that's really good. And they do a bunch of different things, financial stuff, other things, but it's really good shit, and place that I like to get, you know, information. So let's see. Trump weighs striking Iranian nuclear facilities. I may do it. I may not do it. He said Iran wants to negotiate a deal, but what's coming out of their state press is not, you know, like something that I've seen. See, I did do it. If you look, I did post it up here. See, I posted it there so I could make it easier for you, and then I forgot. Oh, what a morning. It's okay. President Donald Trump says it's up in the air whether he will sign off on military strikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Comments that come as his administration weighs involvement in the growing conflict between Israel and Iran. Trump told reporters outside the White House Wednesday that he hasn't ruled out whether the U.S. will strike Iranian nuclear facility, but said in the coming days or week is going to be very big. And they've threatened something big over the last 24 hours and put it out there. Bigger than the world has ever seen. That's not really the kind of rhetoric that you want to use. That shit is not going to work against Trump. It's just not. And I voted for this guy to handle situations like this. I really, really did. I think he's the perfect one to handle this in this situation. And I trust what he's going to do. But yes, I may do it. I may not do it. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before this death and destruction? Why didn't you go? I said to people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch this. So, that's the other thing too. The difference between Israel and Iran, and I'm really talking about leadership here as well, that, you know, Israel wants the least amount of harm to come to the Iranian people. They want to take out this regime. Where I said before, the Iranians, the Iranian leadership, the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, they want all of Israel demolished and all of its people. They want Jews wiped from the face of the earth. So the feelings between the two are not the same. And this threat has gone on for a very, very long time. And it's about time that ends. And this seems like it's time that's coming together to make that happen. So we'll continue to follow it and see. Everybody's going to have their 2 cents to throw in. I'm just saying, just let things play out. And you know what the other thing is too? I just kind of have trust that in the end everything's going to be okay. I have trust in my God, and I just think everything's going to be okay. That's just me, I guess. I'm sure there are others like me out there. But I'm not going to worry until I have to worry. You know, I'm going to continue to do what I do every day. I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to help people lose weight, gain muscle. That's what I enjoy doing. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm not going to get, all wrapped up into this and get twisted and crazy. And like what we see, especially online, because that's the kind of a new thing, all this interconnectedness when shit like this is going on. We've never been so interconnected in all our life as we are now. And I think it's good, and I think it's bad. The bottom line is, it is what it is. And there is not much more we can, do about it. So that's pretty much what I have for today. That's it.
Got a shorter stream today.
Shorter stream today. We're just going to be in and out. That was my topic, was the war, and I wanted to hit that. And, like I said, the current events, I'm still watching basketball games. You know what I mean? I'm still going on with life. Y'all need to go on with life too. We can't get so wrapped up in this that you let fear take over or anything like that. Just be blessed, people. God bless. Have a great day. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.